Hi, folks. Old man Grognard here. Haven't spoken in a while, so I thought I'd do a catch up. Well. Things have been going all right, I guess. I have been blocked from Facebook for some reason. I haven't figured that out yet. But I put in an appeal. It's been a week. I don't know what's going on. I can't seem to get back to them. So that's partly why I'm doing this. If you're out there. I'm also assuming you can hear me because I thought I'd fixed everything so you can hear me. So, and according to this, it's working. So, well, what's been going on? Okay, so far so good. I've been doing the live streams on with Eric and other people. I've kind of hooked my wagon for a while to Wizard Tower Games. Don Samora and Wizard Tower Games. I'm trying to help him and Mark Hunt get the Gangbusters book out there. It has hit a few snags, so I guess that's to be expected anyway. We're trying to figure that out. So I hope you'll give us a bit of a grace on there. I am now an editor on that line, on that book, along with Mark Akers. I am also going to be editor in chief on the RPG Gaming magazine that Don is going to produce soon. I think around November. Is it, Don? I'm not sure. Anyway, so that's pretty much what's going on in the gaming front. I don't really talk about what's happening in the gaming industry or world because I just feel that there are more people like Eric who cover that already. I mean, I can give my opinions on this stuff, but I don't think that would matter. Um, the way that, and as far as state of the world, I'd rather not get into it. Although I do, rest in peace, Charlie Kirk. That's all I'm going to say about that. But anyway, what else? Oh, for my movie collecting fans, I got a couple of things last month or so. This is the 4K of Monty Python and the Holy Grail, and it's a steelbook. Here's what it looks like. Oh, here's the back. Love it. And here's what it looks like on the inside. Very nice. Very nice. So it's got a 4K and a 4K DVD and a regular DVD in there. Also from Criterion, this one I was really excited about. Spinal Tap. They finally brought it back. If nobody knows about what happened with the movie This Is Spinal Tap with Criterion, was the fact that they had it out when they first started doing DVDs. That was like one of the first ones they put out. And after that, I believe MGM yanked the license because they said, we want to put our own out. And that's the one I had for a long time. I didn't like it. I mean, I liked it. I loved the movie, but the extras kind of sucked because Criterion would do stuff like all kinds of making things and interviews, but it also had two different commentary tracks. One with Michael McKean and Harry Shearer and Mr. Mockumentary here. I can't remember. Why can't I remember his name? God, I love him. But they talked about it as the cast. But then they had another commentary as the characters in Spinal Tap, the actual band. And Criterion did that, and MGM decided, oh, we'll just put the one with the band on there. Well, that's all well and good, but I wanted to hear what they really said about it. But what I like about this one is they put that back with the cast and crew, but they also had a third commentary they did with the director and I think the cinematographer and things like that, the editor. on there, which is even more informative. They have a nice interview by that Patton Oswalt talks to Rob Reiner about Spinal Tap because he's a big fan. Anyway, this is what the box. This is the inside here. Okay. And what do we got here? We've got a booklet all about. They always give a great booklet on this one's on Spinal Tap, of course. And here's what the inside looks like. Two Blu-rays and one 4K right there, and they all go to 11. So there we go. That was my big thing. I'm still waiting on one more thing that's coming, and then I'm going to be done for a while. Now, as far as gaming versus movies go, my gaming has kind of fallen by the wayside, unfortunately. That is a shame, but there it is. What are you going to do? So it's mainly because of my relocation to Chickasha, Oklahoma, which is about 45 minutes south of Oklahoma City. That doesn't help. I've got one Monday game, which is online. I've been playing with that Monday group for a long time, but ever since COVID hit, we went online and we haven't been back since. And that kind of bums me out. It just does. Yeah, I want the interaction with people. You know what I'm saying? People. I want to sit across from somebody and, play the game and have a GM sitting there behind a screen and things like that, the usual stuff. But now it's a long ways up and back to Oklahoma City or that area. I don't know of any. There's probably gamers around here, maybe in Lawton, maybe here. Lawton's another 45 minutes the other way. So, and we just had our only game store in town close last month, which it's kind of bummed. I was kind of bummed. I never got down there. That's driving me crazy because I had a few psychological things going on too. Mainly, I'm here. What I don't like is the fact that I sit here every day looking at YouTube and not doing hardly anything. And I just feel like I'm turning into a hermit. And so I don't like that. I got to have people. Every once in a while, my wife and I will go out to karaoke, something like that. But I've got to get in touch with people again. I'm really starting to get kind of bummed out over a few things. I really need somebody to talk to. I've done the psychological stuff before, the counseling and stuff, but that's kind of out of our means right now. Becky retired May 1st of last year, of this year. Was it this year? I think it was this year. Yeah. And we're on Social Security. What can I say? I mean, right now I'm looking for a part-time job and I'm bad at it. I'll tell you right now, I'm bad at it. I don't know what to do. I have not worked in 25 years. Okay. My last job was around 2000, 2001. And I've been out of the job market so long, I'm just totally overwhelmed. I mean, it seems like 99% of the people want me to do it online here, and that's confusing as hell to me. I'm 68, and what I'm looking for is something part-time on the computer at home because I'm 68. I can't go to a Walmart and work there. Okay, even if I'm wearing a blue vest saying "Welcome to Walmart," I can't stand on my feet that long. Medical problems, things like that. And this all sounds like excuse. I hate excuses. I always say I give reasons. I don't give excuses because I try to think of the things. I try to take responsibility and accountability for myself. And what I do. Okay, fine. I'm this. I'll take ownership of my faults. I don't know if I can fix them. Okay. I used to say, I used to say, I'm lazy. I've been lazy since birth. I'm always lazy. But over the last few years, I've come to realize it wasn't laziness so much as fear. I don't know if it's fear of succeeding or what. I'm always afraid of things getting complicated. I like to stay simple on things, but anytime I get close to, oh, you ought to do this, and it starts getting complicated, I stop doing it. Gaming to me, I like to do things that come easy to me, which is probably not the best mindset to be in because we're always learning something. I'm just afraid I'm going to mess it up. I really just mess it up. Um, I'm known in the family as a screw up, and I feel like I'm old. I'm too old to like invest in something and it not panning out. And it has nothing to do. It's mostly for my ego, but also for the fact that we're on Social Security. I really can't afford to lose that kind of money. Okay, because my wife, she's doing a spice business and everything like that, trying to get that going, and I mean, I've got voice acting, I've got illustration, I've got gaming. So I got three things going for me. I can't make a dime off them. And that's on me. Okay. That's on me. But I just need to talk to somebody about it. Now I'm using you. Look, I'm sorry. Anyway. Okay. Gaming wise, let me talk about a little more about that. I've been wanting to do the gangbusters thing. And it's coming along. It's coming along. I will be at a couple of cons this year, or I'm sorry, next year. End of April, I have WizardCon, and that is in Battle Creek, Michigan. I believe the website's up now. My friend Don, he's going to make me you know, he's going to make me one of the special guests, which I'm happy to. He said, "You're all set up. All you need is to get your butt there." And I'm working on that because last October I went to see my friend Jason Saturno and Eric Tinkar, and they are in New York. Jason is in Round Long Island, and Eric is in Queens. And I went to see them that October. I flew out there, had a good time, ran a couple games, looked around, sightseed, and I came back home. Spent a lot of time in the Poconos, which I really enjoyed. Getting out in those cabins out in the woods, beautiful. And I found out recently, I said, how am I going to afford a plane ticket or anything like that? And then I looked at the American Airlines site and found out I had like 2,500 miles credit. And it's like, well, there's my plane ticket. Okay, I think I'm set up. All I have to do is book it now. Hi, Matt. How you doing? I'm glad you showed up. I know this is kind of ad hoc, but we haven't. I did a show, I think Friday, and Eric is getting ready to go to ShireCon, so he can't be on during the day or even night. I don't even think talking crit is going to happen. So I thought I'd jump on there and just give people a heads up on what's going on. Yeah, WizardCon, and also of course North Texas RPG Con in June. That one's going to be a little harder because I've already got my badge. Don't got the room. Don't think I can. What I usually split it with like Jason or somebody like that. I actually had to call Jason and say, "Can you book the room, please? I'll give you my share of the money." My grandson Gage and his girlfriend want to come. Unfortunately, it's on them this year. When I bring Gage every year, practically every year. The year before he couldn't go because he was working. Now he's working, but he makes time. But I usually buy his badge, but I can't do that this year because I don't have it. The badges at North Texas are 110 this year for the whole weekend, and so I'll have to say, look, if you want to come, you're gonna have to get your own. I really like him to come. I really would, because he's a great gamer. People say I trained him well. I know he's my grandson. Of course, I'm going to train him well, and he has a good time. I have a good time. People like me coming. Bad Mike said he's going to figure out some way to get me there, so I'm going to trust in him. In the meantime, looking for a job to make some money so I can go to the anyway. Yeah, WizardCon is going to be a different thing for me. As far as my con history goes, it goes back a ways to like the 90s, maybe late 80s, early 90s. I used to go to DundraCon back in when I lived in California. I used to go to DundraCon, and that was a lot of fun. DundraCon, PacificCon when it was running. I think it is, but it's another name. But I kind of miss that. My friend Doc Cross is out there. I see him on the live stream once in a while. He chimes in. He'd run a tune game every year. I'd love to go to. I love to go through. He's a great guy, and I kind of miss it out there. One of these days, I'm going to get back there. I really want to. I hear it's in Santa Clara now, where I used my old stomping grounds for a while. Yeah, Matt. Met Gage. He says met Gage last North Texas with you and shared some beverages at the bar. Well, I'll say you say hi. He is very busy right now because he's got a job out in the oil fields. And from what I understand, they keep him busy like 12-hour day, 10, 12-hour days, but he's bringing in some good money. And that's what I want to see him at. I mean, like I said, he went to North Texas this year. Last year, he skipped because he couldn't. He had to work because he had a job. And he just turned 22. He's got an apartment. He's got a girlfriend. He's got a car. And I just want him to see him, get out there and make his life. You know what I'm saying? I just want him to establish his life. He, like I said, I think he may marry her. I don't know. But I like to see him, do it. Just do it out there and succeed more than I could, I guess. But he's a great guy and he's a great gamer. And sometimes I feel like I talk too much about him, but what are you going to do? For WizardCon, I am going to try to come up with an original Gangbusters game. I've come up with like 4 or 5 now. I just did a new one this last North Texas. But I'm also going to bring notes for a few others and maybe run another one that I've run before. I've done at least one repeat of one at North Texas. So I'm going to try something original, and also I will be bringing my box set of Ghostbusters and try and run a Ghostbusters game. I've run the same scenario twice already. One at Jason's house, one at North Texas. Very well received. And I will be using another one. I'm going to run a different. I've got like 3 or 4, also done by my friend Tim Snyder. Tim Snyder is great. He runs and writes Ghostbusters. He also writes Crypt World, which is the clone for the old Chill game. Yeah, wasn't it, Matt? Man, that was a really full table. I couldn't believe it too, because I thought, here's the thing. Whenever I register my games at North Texas site, they always ask how many players. And to me, I put 8 this year because the years before I put like 7, or because I'm not counting myself. And I felt that if I put 8, it's going to be 8 plus me. So it was kind of hard. It was kind of hard for me to, because people are coming up, man, I want to get in your game, but it's already full. I said, well, just come by the table. Don't worry about it. And what was funny is I ran that game twice, and I think both times I had 9 people, which is kind of funny. And because I know I know there's at least 2 seats I gotta save, if they come. One, Gage, he always wants to play in my Gangbusters game, and 2, Jason, who always comes and wants to play Gangbusters, you know? Yeah. Yes, I did have walk-ups, and I knew there was I recognized some of the names on there, um, from other years that I'm glad finally showed up. My friend Randy, she showed up. She showed up she did a cosplay. She came she came dressed up like a flapper. Her hair done up in this wonderful dress that they used to wear, and she just looked gorgeous. She's one of my favorite players that ever played. She's in Austin with that group. I mean, I always talk about the Austin group, um, because they're some of my favorite people. They're the ones who played in my first Gangbusters game at North Texas. I remember that when I first ran, I think it was my third North Texas at the time. And I didn't know them, but I met them like the first day I was there. I was going somewhere and they were heading out to Denny's to get something to eat. And they saw my badge. Oh, yeah. We're all in your Gangbusters game. Oh boy. And I kept thinking, oh, no pressure, huh? Okay. But we had a ball. And I really love some of those guys. Um, Raul and all those guys. Ms. Diamond. I'm sorry. I'm old. I'm starting to fade. And the names, I need to be reminded sometimes. But Randy was one of those. And I love those people. They're great. I actually went down for a weekend to play with them. And it was a blast. I even wrote an original Gangbusters game, which I think I later ran at North Texas. But it was very fun, and it was what they called it GlenCon, which is great. Um, and I even did a logo and everything. They said they printed T-shirts, and some people got them. I never got a T-shirt, but I'm thinking of actually doing my own. I still have the logo, and just put it on a shirt in Printify and just order it for myself. Um, and I had a ball. I ran this one. I can't talk today. I ran this one game, um, and it turned at their weekend. And my wife is going on she's going to some seminar in Austin, and she booked a weekend room for us. And so, okay, I'll go too. I can hang with my friends. You do your thing. So I wrote up an original, and I played at Mr. Webb's house, and it was fun. It was called Shine. I called it Shine on Harvest Moon, as in moonshine. One of the things that I like to use Rock Junction, which is the campaign world that Mark Hunt came up with when he redid it for BX. But one of my running things in Rock Junction is the fact that the mob there, the mob bosses, they're beholden to the Purple Gang in Chicago for their setup, for their booze, for everything, and they're constantly looking for another way, another outlet, so they won't have to be beholden to them all the time, because they don't want them to call the shots. They want to call the shots. Understood. So I've done a couple of scenarios. Like one, I had them in, they had a still going on in the sewers of Rock Junction. But this one, they decided, hey, wait a minute. Kentucky's close. Why don't we go and see if we can get some of the moonshiners to make some booze for us, and we'll bring it back and sell it. So they had that arrangement going on. There was a murder. There was, all that kind of stuff. Gangbusters, whether it's original or BX, is kind of tricky. and I think I've gotten the thing for it and how to deal with it, because it's almost an anti D&D. It's an anti D&D in the way that there's very little party cohesion. I'm not saying there isn't any, but you're not getting together in an adventuring group and going down in a dungeon. Okay? Because you've got and you've got people can play whatever side of the law they want. They don't have to play cops or FBI or, you know, probation agents. They can play newspaper reporters. They can play private eyes. They can play whatever the hell they want. My grandson he always tries to throw me for a loop because he said, I want to play a game warden. I said, okay, you're a game warden. What the hell are you doing in Rock Junction? Oh, well, I'm here to cash my paycheck. Okay, fine, good, fine. Um, but the problem I had is I had to put some restrictions on there because I can't run a mixed group. It drives first of all, everybody's working on I give them the basic problem, okay? But everybody's like going this way, that way, the other way, which is fine, but it doesn't. How do I get them together to, compare notes and get back? But I also had the restriction of law abiding, or a common Joe only. I play the gangs. I said, I play the gangsters. I play the bad guys. One to keep in control of it, and two because I love playing those guys. So I've bent that a little. If somebody wants to play like a con man or something, but the point is, I'm trying to get them roughly on the same page. Just so I can. I tried running a mixed group once. It was it was a disaster, absolute disaster. So I said, everybody do that. And what I found out, and this is cool, because okay, there's no you know cohesion as in D&D. Okay, we got a magic user, we got a thief, we got a fighter, we got a that kind of thing. We got a cleric, whatever. But they naturally fell into groups of like 2 or 3. Rarely did I have a solo guy, because I'd have these guys say, okay, we're going to both play cops. So we're both, on the same beat. We're partners. Okay, fine. I have the Blue Book Detective Agency in town. I'd say you can be an independent. You can work for Blue Book. A lot of times they pick Blue Book and they'll say, okay, I'll put him and him on the case. And so they're working together. And over here, we got the newspaper guys. Okay, I'm a reporter. The others, I'm a photographer. Boom, it works out. I think I had one person last night, Randy. She played, this is where I bent it a little. She played a speakeasy owner. And I'm sure she had a front. But she would actually hook up with one of the other groups I think she hooked up with the newspaper guys. I even had I think they had 3 newspaper guys, or 4 of them. Like two of them worked for one paper, 2 of them worked for the other paper. See who could scoop one first, or something like that. I'm open to people who want to do the lone thing, because you can't always rely on that. Like I said, Gage, I'm going to be a game warden. I'm going to follow the cops around or whatever. But like when I ran one called Ring of Fire, which was a boxing scenario, and Gage played a boxer. I said, cool. Okay. You're going to be by yourself. You want to follow these guys? That's fine, but you'll be by yourself. But at the same time, the theme of the adventure was boxing. So he got to play, somebody who knows the main guy, who's a boxer, who they're trying to protect. You know, the rival mob wants him to take a fall. He doesn't want to. They kidnap his girlfriend, da 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 da. And it was a blast. I played it. It was so funny because this game was great at North Texas, but when I had my Monday group where we met together when I was living in Oklahoma City, we got I did a play test with them because I know practically all of them ain't going to go. So I do a play test like a few weeks before. And one guy wanted to play a grown up Bowery boy or East Side kid or Dead End kid or whatever. I said, fine, fine. Do you know anything about him? No. I gave him a YouTube clip of what Angels with Dirty Faces with scenes with them. And it's like, okay, I got it. I want to play a guy who's all grown up from that. But he also said, I want to be the brother of the main guy's girlfriend. And I said, great. And it's so funny because when we play tested it, he played that. And my friend Jimbo, he played one of those hillbillies who was in town delivering, hooch to the speakeasies because that worked out. So he had this old pickup truck and everything. And those two fell in together, I mean, and the nice thing about it was if anybody has a tie to like the NPCs, I'll go with it. Even if there's only one of them, I'll go with it because I can basically I'm keeping the minimal amount of balls in the air when I'm running it. Because I found out when people naturally break into smaller groups like that, I can actually do, okay, this is happening here for 5 minutes or so. Okay, over where you guys are. And then they actually naturally manage to like get together and they manage to, do that. Yeah, anything I can link to the NPCs, it's great. I mean, if they have a direct link, I'll use it. That's something I really enjoy seeing. And shout out to my Monday players. It's that's the best group I've ever been with. Shout out to the North Texas people, the guys who came to play. You guys were a whole lot of fun. Even the quiet guys. I mean, they got into it too. The one thing I regretted, aside from that group I tried to mix them, was this year I did one thing that I will try never to do again. And that's on me. Because the game this year was called If It Bleeds, It Leads. It started out as a newspaper type thing, but it turned into political corruption. And okay, everybody who knows me says, I hate politics. I do not like politics. Whatever's going on right now, leave me out of it. You know what I'm saying? But I do have a certain little fondness for the old time Tammany Hall, alderman corruption machine type of politics way back in the 20s, 30s, and 40s. So I kind of liked that because I could do something with it. I can have these larger than life. Excuse me. Having some lot of trouble with the throat today. Larger than life characters to do that. Okay. They got to one point where they found out this one judge was corrupt. And I know. I'll get to that in a minute, Matt. But they went to the judge's mansion to talk to him to get some information. And the judge was hooked up with the Black Hand, so he had a couple of like wise guys wandering around for security. And one or two of them got into his office while they were talking. He was in the greenhouse doing his plants. A couple got in their office, found out their books, and other ones were in the greenhouse, were walking out, and the other two were walking the ground. The two wise guys come up, and this guy, they're saying, "What the hell are you doing here?" And the blah 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 blah, and then The guy then I had the cops show up, okay? The cops did show up because I had a couple of characters cops. But then one of the guys comes out of the greenhouse with his shotgun pointed at the judge, saying, "All right," because everybody's pulling out guns. He said, "Back off or he gets it." That happened. My mind went blank, totally blank. We were in a Mexican standoff, and the only thing I felt I could say was, "Okay, break. Be back here in 10, whatever, 15." And I sat there and it's like, what the hell do I do now? What the hell do I do? I don't know. So I came back from break. I said, okay, I'm going to give you the aftermath of what happened. This guy's okay. This guy's wounded. This guy, da, da, da. And nobody died. And afterwards, Gage pulled me aside and said, "Grandpa, you could have done better on that." And I said, "I know. I lost the brain juice. I'm sorry." And that's something I'm going to make sure never happens again. Okay. Um, yeah. Matt, you don't want to know. I'll tell you in a minute. But Matt reminded me that I think it was the second game. Was it the first or second game? I don't remember. But we had a game going on, and there's usually like 2 to 3 tables in a room, and they put these screens up to separate. And we were having a whole lot of fun. Yeah, and I didn't think we were doing anything wrong. I was playing music, we were doing sound effects, that's the thing. And one of the guys, because I felt the other guys over there, they were being really loud. Oh yeah, I could tell. Okay, they're having fun. I just got to speak a little louder, which I did. And near the end of the game, this one guy comes over and says, "Hey, can you guys keep it down a little? We're trying to play here." And I just stood there like somebody hit me with a fish. Okay. And I turned and go, "You're kidding." Yeah, yeah. I turned to the play. "You're kidding, right? Right?" I mean, they're they're totally loud, and they're telling us to keep it down. It's like, come on. That's clear. Yeah, it was fun. Everybody was engaged. That's what I think. When they're all engaged, it's great. Absolutely great. But I was like, what the hell? Anyway, ducks off a duck, water off a duck's back. Anyway, one thing, and this year actually there was a second Gangbusters game. Somebody else was running Gangbusters, and it's like, yeah, because I want to see more, And this guy actually asked me to come by his table after he started running to check it out, and I sat in for a while. I just sat to watch, and he asked me if I had any tips and tricks. Later on that night at the bar, he came up and I said, "Well, this," and I like what I saw. I told him, I said, "What did you think?" I said, "I like what I saw." I mean, he was really good at it. He was running a game about kind of like the Black Sox, like a baseball game. I think he was running it in Chicago. He was using the National City. And I watched it because like the baseball players were the guys figuring out the mystery. Okay. And I said, that's a great original idea. And I encourage him. I said, do it again next year. Yeah. You gonna run it again today? This year? This weekend? No? Do it again next year. Run it as much as you can. Yeah, Matt D'Amico. That's the guy. Matthew, where would I be without you? Thank you for coming along. But he ran a good game. I sat there and watched it for about 30 minutes because I had to run my game. So I said, I can't play, but I'll sit and run because he's like an hour before me. So, but in fact, next year, I wouldn't mind running in one of his Gangbusters games. Sounds like it's a good idea. See, when I do a Gangbusters game, it's funny. Here's what's driving me crazy because I'm not playing much anymore because I want to play more, around here. I got a beautiful table. I love to have it, people. But when it comes down to I have to go to North Texas RPG Con just to run a game once a year, I don't like that. And I feel that I don't get better that way. Um, I want to I want to be able to put on the best game I can. Um, but anyway, I'm glad to see another GM stepping up to the plate. When I go to WizardCon, I know that both myself and Mark Hunt will be there running gangbusters. And if Mark's there, he'll also be running Tall Tales, his BX Western game, which is really good. I played in that. That was a lot of fun. He came to North Texas one year and he ran that along with Gangbusters. And it's like, God, I didn't play his Gangbuster game, but I played in his Tall Tales game. It was a lot of fun. A lot of fun. DCC Shadow Dark Funnel with his Kickstarter. Oh, yeah. That's right. Mark Hunt has put out, I think you can download it. I don't know where. Get a hold of him on Facebook or something like that. But he has downloaded a Gangbusters funnel. And it's called The Raid. It's basically you do the funnel thing, come up with what, 2, 3 characters, and it's at night, you're all in a speakeasy. There's entertainment going on, whatever, and it's raided by the cops and the prohibition guys. And your goal is to get out of there without getting arrested. Or maybe you may get arrested. I don't know. But what do you do is basically a what do you do thing. And the ones who manage to get out with their skin, there's your character. So it's a wonderful way to do a DCC funnel. I don't play DCC. I have the book. I just don't play it. I bought the book mainly for because it's basically Gonzo D&D, and I love Gonzo, and for the tables. There are a few things I don't agree with in there, but on the whole, I really don't play it because I think it's my opinion. Excuse me. My opinion of that game is the fact that it feels harder than the original ever was, which is okay. People like this. Some people like gritty and dark and hard and stuff like that, where magic is totally unpredictable and things like that. That's not me. That's not me. I don't mind having a high fantasy campaign. I'd think of it more as medium fantasy. My favorite, outside of Dungeons and Dragons, OGL, my favorite is Hyperborea. I love Hyperborea because of the way it does it. First of all, it's based on first edition AD&D. And I know I played a lot of that over the years. And so I just sort of fell into it. Let me sing the praises of Hyperborea for a while. I love it because, well, first of all, let me say I love it by saying what I don't like about 5e. Okay? Which is funny because the Monday game is a 5e game. But I play it like OGL, like OSR. To the detriment of my grandson Gage. Because, Grandpa, you got these abilities you never use because I don't think of them. What am I playing around? I'm playing a mage, and I take advantage of the kind of the cantrips and stuff. But I'm just, and when I was playing, I played a barbarian in there in the last campaign, and it's like, Grandpa, you got things you can do. You can do this, that, and the other. All I want to do is, I do the basic fighter barbarian thing. It's like, okay, all that matters is how well can I hit, and how much can I hit them. And so I don't use that stuff. I just don't. Okay, Gangbusters is a nice alternative to that. I totally lost my train of thought about what I was talking earlier. I was singing praises of Hyperborea. Hyperborea, like I said, it's based on 1E. There are no demihumans. which is okay with me. I don't mind. They're trying to do the Clark Ashton Smith, Robert E. Howard Lovecraft stuff. I get it. Okay. I've never read Howard. I've never read Smith, but I knew enough about it by the movies and the fact that I've got books over there. I could never sit down and read the actual Howard stories, but I do have at least one volume of the old Marvel Conan the Barbarian comic book that it's like, I get it. I get it. So, they've got it tweaked that way. They use what's really good in 1E. And one thing one was fifth. One thing I don't like fifth edition is just the builds. Like I was saying, I don't use half the stuff. Whenever I make a new character, I got to call up my grandson saying, I want this. How do I make it? And I'm not looking for something real fancy, My fighter, LoJack, it's like, I know what he's like. He's a fighter. I got some of his backstory. I wrote a novel about him. I did a couple of comic strips about him. So I know him. So I said, he's this, this, and this. Okay, you want this, this, and this. And he's got to tell me these things because I don't have the books. I refuse to buy the books. I have bought the books, but they're for Gage. He asked for them. But I will not own the books because I don't want to. I don't want to give them money. I don't. I really don't. I do not approve of the way they're going about stuff. But the point is, I hear this talk of builds and whatever the newest supplement come out. Oh, I got all this other stuff. It's like freaking Pathfinder who took 3.5 and just jacked it to 11. I just like that. What I like about Hyperborea is stuff like that. It's all what I call front loaded, which means instead of the 4 basic classes, since you don't have to deal with race, 4 basic classes, you do races of men. So it's mainly for background stuff, but they have 26 classes, 4 of the main and 2 or 3 of the others that are subclasses. And I looked over them and the spells and abilities. First of all, the game only goes up to 12th level. That's fine. Perfectly fine. And I looked at the abilities and skills of these classes, and it's like, I don't need them. I don't need a build. I don't need any multi-classing or dual classing. You can't find what you want on these pages. There's something wrong with you. I'm sure somebody is going to come up with some whacked out concept that he wants to do. But on the whole, I could go, okay, I want to play a warlock, or I want to play a rune caster, or so, and it's just, I'm perfectly happy with it because you get your builds, you get your levels as you go up levels, you get your stuff. And the way and 3rd edition is great because they did stuff like totally revamp the monk. And the monk is really fun to play right now. Back door open. Great. So it's just a great system, and I just love it. What can I say? Yeah, okay, Matt, you'll be playing Hyperborea for a second time. Jeff is a great GM. I've played in his game before at the con. He's a lot of fun. Like I said, he created it, so he knows what to do, but he was a lot of fun. You can really get engaged in his game. What I'm looking forward to at WizardCon was meeting the people I don't usually get to meet because they're in that part of the country. It seems like a lot of these guys, I'm not talking about just the old TSR guys. I mean, I know I've met and interacted with Tim Kask and Frank Menser. I'm looking forward to seeing them again because it's been a long time because they both stopped coming to North Texas, mainly because they want to stick around near where they are because they're getting up in age. But I'm looking forward to seeing them. But I also looking forward to hopefully maybe seeing some of the people who like are, who do the vlogs, the gaming vlogs like that. Like I don't know, GD, Professor Dungeon Master, those kind of people. I'm hoping they show up. Questing Beast, I'd love to meet him. Questing Beast came to North Texas one year and I didn't even know it. Because next thing I know, I'm seeing like YouTube videos of him at North Texas talking to people. I was like, where the hell were you? I was there. Where were you? So that's the kind of thing I was looking forward. Anyway, Matt, he's got to get back to work. So thanks for coming by. I appreciate it. I know these things are kind of ad hoc. I don't announce them. I don't know how to announce them. I'm suspended from Facebook for right now. I think I'll go hang out at XTwit, Elon Musk's baby, and maybe announce there. I'm coming on now. I don't know how this works. Live streaming with YouTube are still kind of, I don't know. It's kind of weird to me, but because when I do the shows with Eric and other people, they're using a service called Restream. And I say, why do I have to pay a subscription to go on Restream to do this when I can actually go on YouTube itself and do it? But they have an ability to announce the show and whatever. I'm not knocking them. I'm not knocking Restream or YouTube or anything. It's just, that's the way it is. Anyway, I think I should probably go. And Matt, it was nice being here. I hope more people get here next time I do this. I will try to make this a little more of a regular thing. And maybe we can, talk again. Because you guys bring up some good stuff. And if there's any questions you want from me, I can do an AMA too. Eric does an AMA, I think, for his Patreon or private subscriber. I don't subscribe to it, but I think he does an AMA for them. But maybe, I don't know, maybe I can actually set up a Patreon if I start doing an AMA or something. I've never set up a Patreon. I've got Patreon. I've got a Patreon account. I've just never set up anything on it because they always, it's like, okay, for this, you get more of this, you get more of this. And I never wanted to produce more content. I'm lazy. But, if I could do stuff like this, or maybe I've got a Discord I've got a Discord server, so I can probably set that up too. But I will think about that. That is for another day. Anyway. Okay. Well, you guys have a good day, and hope to see you listen to Thaco's Hammer on yeah. I wanted to say iTunes, but it's more like Spotify and other places, and also the Internet Archive. So until I see you folks next show, bye-bye.